All right, guys, we're back again with another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Today we have Jay Connor. And let me before I read your bio, Jay, when I first met you, we exchanged information, and you gave me this card.
Yeah.
You gave me this card, and when you gave me this card, I said, "Wow!" It felt like I got an Amex or something. I was like, "Wow, I've never seen a gold card." So I held on to this.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm gonna have to copy this. This is nice. But
Well, I can tell you where to get them.
all right, so Jay started investing in single-family houses in 2003, and the first 6 years he relied on local banks to fund his deals. And he had perfect credit and got a lot of capital, I guess, from the banks. And he noticed in January 2009, I guess that's when the banks started not lending anymore and tighten up the credit line. He learned about private money during that time also. And it took less than 90 days to raise private money. He raised over $2 million in funding that had nothing to do with credit or verification income. In 2011, he became known as the Private Money Authority. He traveled. He's a national traveler. He teaches real estate investors how to get their own private lenders. He lives in a small town in eastern North Carolina, and his market is only 40,000 people. And he do about 2 or 3 deals a month with an average profit somewhere between $60,000 to $70,000 per deal. So I wanted to have you on the show. We travel in the same circles. We're part of the same mastermind group, and the goal with this podcast is really to help others who are trying to get into the real estate business understand a little bit more. You get the opportunity to share your experience with the world. I see you started in 2003, so you are market cycle tested. You went through the downturn, so you had to regroup. The first question I ask everyone, Jay, is why are you passionate about real estate investing?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, Fuquan. And simply, I became passionate about real estate back in 2003, and I'm still passionate about it because I don't know any other vehicle. I don't know any other business, and there's more than one reason. I don't know any other business that can provide as quickly and sustain the wealth and, most importantly, the freedom that allows me to pretty much work when I want to work in the business. So, I would be hard pressed to give an accounting of actually working in the business more than 5 hours a week. Now, the way that works is I began systematizing and automating my business, which means either using technology or outsourcing. I'm known as the 3D guy: dictate, delegate, disappear, and show back up when they least expect it. But I've got an amazing team. I use virtual assistants. I have a full-time LA local assistant that oversees all the seller leads and buyer leads of people that have single-family houses for sale or want to buy one of our homes on a rent-to-own basis. But I'm passionate about it because once you have the automation in place and you have the team in place, who's my team? My real estate attorney, my virtual assistants that do the marketing for me, my full-time local assistant that talks to buyers and sellers, my contractors, my realtor. So once that team is in place, pretty much what I do is I make decisions. So I still review all the property lead sheets that come in from motivated sellers and make the determination as to what's the maximum offer that I want to make on the house. But that's a long answer to a short question, and that is I don't know any other way that allows to have you this type of lifestyle. My wife and I are very involved in our church. Serving others is very, very important to us. So when needs arise, we're able to participate and impact and make a difference in other people's lives. So the short answer is wealth and freedom.
I love it. And freedom seems to be the common theme of all of the guests that I asked that question. That's one of the first questions I started with the show. And that seems to be the common theme. Also, a lot of the guests that I've been interviewing lately are really focused on systemizing the business and automating it. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you talked about that's what helped you get your freedom, I will presume, is leveraging human capital. as they say, right? So
Correct.
you have the process where you're the visionary, you come up with the ideas, and you have your integrator in place, and then you have these team members that you leverage human capital, and they actually have their own unique ability where they can do certain things, whether it's the acquisitions manager or the salesperson or the realtor or the contractor and stuff like that. So, I mean, I know starting off in 2003, you didn't just say, hey, this is the plan that's going to go like that. Let's talk about the road to that setup. Some of the challenges that you may have went through, which made you just say, you know what, this is what I need to do in order to get that freedom. Let's talk about that, because people think that they're just going to jump in and flip houses and make money, and they don't know it's a real business.
Yeah. Well, the biggest mistake that I made at the very beginning was not only trying to do everything myself, but continuing to try to do everything myself for too long. Um, and so when I started out, I was actually in the manufactured housing or mobile home business, if you will. And I'd been in that industry for a long time, and the consumer financing was pretty much taken away from that industry. So we spent a year to year and a half of shutting that business down. And it's a lot more fun to start working on something new and positive than shutting a company down. So my first year, we only did 3 houses. I'd do 1 house and finish it. So I was still full time in the corporate world, closing that business down while doing this part time. And so, if you're just going to do 1 house at the time, then, perhaps systemization is not as important as when you really want to scale the business. So like, we do between 2 and 3 deals a month. Average profits are last year, 2019, they were $67,000 per deal. We're in a small market, only 40,000 people, but we've got right now right at 27 people that are occupying homes that are in a rent to own type basis, to where we're helping them get ready for a mortgage and cash out. So when you scale the business to that point, the automation is very important. So just to repeat, the critical team members that need to be in place in order to scale the business is your realtor. I get all my comparable market analysis pulled on every property before I make an offer, because a house can sell on that street or in that neighborhood and can affect the value from what you thought it was, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So my realtor relationship is very, very important. So I make a lot of cash offers. So the relationships with my private lenders are very important. So typically I don't use hard money loans. I'm actually doing business with individuals. So right now we've got 48 individuals, private lenders, that fund our deals, that we move their capital from one house to the next house to the next house. So back to the relationships, private lenders, the realtor. I can't put a value or a price or how valuable my relationship is with my real estate attorney. So for example, if when I'm buying houses from off-market houses that are not in the multiple listing service, and I'm dealing with a motivated seller, many times I can actually offer a little bit less on that house when I'm paying all cash, but because I can close so quickly, as in less than a week, I can close a deal. Other real estate investors can't move that fast. If somebody just walked in off the street to my real estate attorney's office or called them up, they are more than a month out before they could even do a title search or do a closing. I get all my title searches done in 24 to 48 hours. And again, I can close within a week. The way I do business with my contractors is I do business with a general contractor, and I also have a crew leader that oversees 2 crews. So we can be doing 3 houses simultaneously as far as the rehab goes. So again, I just can't put a value or a price on how important those relationships are.
Yeah, that's important. If you see me with the phone, that's my social media, Instagram stuff going, trying to do them all at the same time. But yeah, it's very important, especially. And a few things. Let me back up. You said you do on average around 2 houses per month with a larger profit.
Yeah,
And
2 to 3.
yeah, 2 to 3. So I see some people who try to do 10 to 15 a month, and I'm sure that they're not making the spreads that size. It could be 10,000, 15,000, on a rehab. I'm not talking about a wholesale flip or something like that. A rehab, they're going in and putting in 40, 50,000 with the rehab and winding up with $15,000 profit at the end, and they work in 4 or 5 projects. Where I think
Mm-hmm.
your strategy of just being laser focused, cherry picking the ones that come in through acquisitions and making sure that it's very profitable, that's very strategic, and it's not you're not spread a mile wide and an inch deep. So that part I definitely get, and it's important for people to understand, especially when you're raising capital for individuals, that communication is important to your investors, and communication is important to the contractors, because I know that has to be challenges with dealing with the contractors. Even though you have a guy who's seen the general contractor, there's always issues and challenges and stuff like that. So when the market transitioned, how did that affect you, and what did you learn from that? Because I got hurt. A lot of people who were invested got hurt. Some people made it out unscathed. But I had to start all over again, literally in 2010, after I recouped, and lift myself up, and had to get my self-image together. Had to get back to winning self-image.
Right, right.
So how did you weather the
Yeah,
storm?
the downturn back in 2008, 2009, 2010 was actually a blessing for me and my company. That's when I got cut off from the banks with no notice. I had 2 deals under contract. Called up my banker. I learned in that conversation I'd have no longer any lines of credit at the bank. I wish I'd known that before I had those deals under contract, because back then in 2009, and you couldn't get your earnest money back. So, you know, one mantra that I live by is that it is impossible for you to fail in anything until you decide to quit. You
Mhm.
can't fail. You can't fail until you decide to quit. And so quitting was not an option for me. So I called up my friend Jeff, who at the time lived in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I told him what had just happened, getting cut off from the bank. He said, "Well, welcome to the club. They just cut me off last week." And I said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And so Jeff told me about private money, and I put my program together. And what I mean by that is, when I was borrowing money from the bank put the program together. But in this world of private money, we don't. What we do is we put our program together as to how much interest rate we're going to pay, what's the terms of the loans, and et cetera. And I just made my program available and framed myself as an educator. And I taught people about self-directed IRAs and how they can use their retirement funds to, invest, and how to loan money out. And so I put this little 16-minute audio recording together, and I put that audio out there to all my contacts. And that's how in less than 90 days, I was able to attract over $2 million. So the downturn, I actually tripled my business the first 12 months right after I got cut off. And the reason I was able to triple my business is because I had all this funding from private lenders now available that I didn't have at the local banks. I mean, all I had was $1 million line of credit, and I kept that maxed out all the time. So so 2 things happened that attributed to helping triple my business. One was I had all this funding now available, this new source of funding, private money. And with the downturn, now there were all these fantastic deals where prices had come down so quickly, and all these bank owned properties. So, coupling having private money and having fantastic deals due to the price reductions, that all contributed to tripling the business.
That's awesome. I'm glad you cleared that up too. I think when I read your bio, I didn't put enough emphasis that in the 90 days you raised almost $2.2 million in a short period of time. So I'm glad you brought that back up. What challenges, and this is my last question, I know you're busy. What challenges do you face as a real estate investor in today's market, and what are you doing to overcome those challenges? Is it market conditions in your area? Is pricing getting, are yields getting compressed because it's shortage of inventory? What do you, because everybody has problems, Jay. What challenges do you see?
My challenge is much broader than just real estate investing. My challenge is shiny object syndrome. So,
Thanks for being honest.
so I mean, the new opportunity or the new marketing strategy comes along. So really it's two pieces, and then I'm going to tell you how I keep that in check.
Okay.
So shiny object syndrome, I think everybody knows what we're talking about. You got the new opportunity comes along that you want to, try out, or the new marketing strategy you want to try out. So there's that temptation to go try something new. And I'm a marketer by nature, so I love testing new stuff. The second challenge that comes along with that is starting something new and not and having the temptation not to prune and cut back what is not working as effectively. I mean, right now, so Fuquan, I don't know if this is a challenge for you, but how many reoccurring charges do we have on our credit card statement every month, and we don't even know what it's for, right? So you gotta prune that stuff. So how do I keep that in check? So I still have my own weekly coaching call with my own head coach, and before I take on anything new, I have to convince my coach that is something that I really need to do. So I really don't have to convince him. What that does is that makes me talk through and really truly be honest and justify to myself, is that really something that I need to be doing, and is that really serving my overall goals and vision and focus? So that's my big challenge.
So you mean to tell me you're not going to do any mobile home investing, storage, senior living facilities? Come on, the fields are crazy.
There's plenty of opportunities out there, isn't there?
I definitely appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing with us your words of wisdom. It's another great episode, PFREI, Passion for Real Estate Investments. You guys can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and all the other social media stuff that's out there. Thanks a lot, Jay. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your words of wisdom.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, can I give out
Absolutely.
a free class? I got a free class, online
Absolutely.
class. It's on demand. Your audience can go check it out. So this free class, it only lasts about 60 minutes, 1 hour or less, and it's called Where to Get the Money Now. So what I explain in this online class is the 5 steps that people can use, having no private money to having over $1 million in private money in less than 90 days. And so they can check out that online class at www.jayconner.com/money webinar. So that's jayconner.com/money webinar.
And also on Facebook, you catch them at Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority on Facebook.
You got it. You got it. It was great being on with you today here, Fuquan. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Really appreciate it.